Hi everyone, this is Sunette. In this video, I would like to share with you my process that I've walked in relation to particular food types, and still one that's on my list to walk. And what I mean by walking is understanding how memory, emotions, past experiences, and even relationships with people can play a major role in your response, taste sensations, and general self-experience with eating certain food types. With me, I, for quite a few years, was walking my relationship with sushi. And there was a part of me inside myself that knew that sushi is something that I can enjoy, because I grew up by the ocean. I was used to growing up with ocean seafood, from crayfish to calamari to mussels. And my parents went out diving, and so I was not unfamiliar with any types of seafood, whether cooked or raw. And in my life, there was a memory of trying sushi for the first time in a restaurant setting. And that memory, where I was introduced to it, there was people involved and relationship dynamics that were problematic at the time. And, for me, emotionally problematic. And I had a tendency to, in my life, emotionally suppress things, and work through it more on a physical level, meaning where when I go through trauma or shock or an immense, overwhelming amount of sadness, I don't immediately, emotionally cry it out. I tend to keep it inside, and then, my body kind of experiences the brunt of it, and I'll either fall ill or, just feel sickly within myself. And then eventually, only over time, once I've worked through whatever caused the overall experience, does the crying come. But I'll walk through videos in relation to how we process trauma, shock, sadness, loss differently, and how to identify how you deal with it. But within this, sticking to how, in that moment, it's just like my whole body was repulsed by the sushi. And I just left it and tried it one more time. And this was years ago when I was in my late teens. And I let it go. But in my mid-20s, I started aligning with people who very much enjoyed sushi. And I was like, okay, here it is once again in my life to have a look at who I am within it, because there was just this knowing part in me that I'm having this response. And my response was, the moment the sushi, I would smell the sushi even, I would start getting nauseous and my whole body would react. But it was definitely linking into an overreaction, because it was me knowing myself, knowing how my emotions work, knowing how my body worked. It was not only so much the sushi I was reacting to, but the memory, the experience that was attached to it that happened so many years ago. And now with also, understanding how our consciousness works, our mind works, where our memories, start forming part of our physical bodies. Our physical bodies store our memories that we've lived throughout our lives, even the emotions we've experienced in it. So now it's like this memory has been festering within me all these years. And so now, from previously where I could at least chew it and start eating it, I cannot even be close to the smell of it. So interestingly enough, it took a number of years, let's say about 5 years, close to, where about 2-3 times a year I would once again make the effort of, okay, let me see who I am in my relationship with the sushi. And over the years, it progressed from not being able to even smell it when people have it in front of me. I'd have to walk away, to already being able to start chewing it. But, then the nausea would still come. And then I'd know, okay, how I'd use that, how my body, how I am emotionally on my level is responding, how I used it is to see, okay, are there more things inside myself that I need to reflect on, look at, work through, understand? Because the moment as well I would be eating the sushi, what would come up in my mind is the memory of that moment in my life of where I tried it for the first time in the whole restaurant setting, and the particular type of sushi. So even to me, in my understanding was that, there's only one kind of sushi and that's what you've got to eat and try as is. Only later would I discover, which I'll share in a video to come, only later was I to discover, you have different restaurant qualities of sushi, all the varieties that you have, the quantities of your soy sauce and wasabi for the actual taste, sensation, experience, the drink that you have with the sushi to complement all the taste. I mean, there's almost a whole science within and behind the eating of sushi. But, initially in my mind, it was just order it and eat it. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. Kind of way simplifying and limiting sushi in all that it is way too much. And so when over the years, and many might say, but I mean, if there's only one memory that happened to you in relation to sushi, why don't you sort out the one memory? But that's also the interesting thing. I presumed throughout the years as well, I'm only having to walk through this one memory. But then I more and more through the years realized when I was tasting the sushi again and eating it and seeing who I am in it, that as much as it was about that memory and that memory coming up every time, so many other references, connotations, emotions, experiences were coming up in me as well. And it was taking me even way back to how I was taking out a lot of additionally suppressed stuff in me on the sushi memory, on the people and the person who was involved. And actually to go farther back inside myself in walking some introspection and investigation into where was I at as a person. I didn't look at that. I attached even my perception that what happened in that very memory, the first time I tried sushi, it was only in relation to how I felt then with the immediate people involved. But no, I was blaming, projecting even. And it took me back to family relationships and things that I didn't come to terms with inside myself, accept, forgive, let go. And that is why it took a number of years to walk through this point, because of how much throughout my life, since the sushi memory and before that, I had a particular suppression, let's call it programming, that was tied to everything. And this was me not sharing how I was really feeling about something. I always tended to want to please everyone, in when they make decisions or when something happens that I'm not comfortable with, instead of just sharing, and saying, yeah, look, this is how I'm feeling right now, but let's talk about it at least. I didn't even do that. I just said, I was just more kind of like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, okay. Meanwhile, there were emotional storms going on inside of me. So then I took that pattern and looked throughout my life up until the whole sushi moment and experience and see, okay, where am I still doing and playing out that pattern inside myself? Where were those closest to me? Am I not even allowing myself to open up and share honestly and genuinely what's going on inside of me? And everyone, that is a lonely way to live. And I've been there. And that's also what I can open up from this entire sushi food tasting relationship and experience, how to identify, the deeper patterns that's involved in your reaction and response to food, especially if it's tied to a memory or an event that happened. But primarily, it's always just to continue trying it, reflect inside yourself, look at what's involved in your mind, what references are you using, and what's the general nature of where you were at in your life when you started reacting to a particular food. All right, everyone. So have a look at some introspection and reflection in your years before, throughout your memories, your relationship with food, and we'll continue more in the next video. Thank you very much.